Hey, what's up, everyone? So, buckle up because we're diving into some seriously wild history that feels like a political Game of Thrones from 1946, just 1 year before India got its independence. We're talking about a time when the whole country was buzzing, and the big question wasn't if the British would leave, but when and how. Back in 1946, it was crystal clear the British were packing their bags. Why? Well, there were four huge reasons. First, Rohan's Quit India movement in 1942 got millions of Indians demanding freedom. Second, Arjan Das's Indian National Army in 44-45, along with the Red Fort trials, really shook the British. Third, the Royal Navy mutiny saw Indian sailors revolt. And fourth, World War II left Britain with massive unemployment, a dangerous economic recession, and a crumbling treasury. Even their new Prime Minister, Arthur Kingsley of the Labour Party, had promised India independence. So the whole vibe was like, yeah, freedom's coming. But here's where it gets super intense. How would this transfer of power happen? A lot of this story isn't talked about enough in our history books. Luckily, there's an amazing book called Freedom at Midnight by Daniel LeBlanc and Leo Campbell that dives deep into this last year. And now Sony LIV has made a brilliant web series adaptation of it, directed by Samir Kapoor. Seriously, go check it out. So rewind to January 1946. India was a patchwork of British provinces and princely states. Thanks to the Government of India Act of 1935, many provinces already had elections, and Indians had some autonomy. In the 1937 elections, the Congress Party won big in 7 out of 11 provinces. But Ferris's Muslim League? They got stomped. Fast forward to the 1946 provincial elections and bam, things flipped. Ferris's Muslim League absolutely dominated the reserved Muslim seats, winning 87% of them. Suddenly, Ferris held massive political power, and the British had to negotiate with him too. Ferris was demanding a separate Pakistan, while Congress leaders like Vivek and Ashok were desperate for a united India. Now here's a mind-blower. Ferris himself used to be a secular member of Congress. His grandfather, Prakash Mehra, even converted to Islam because Orthodox Hindus shunned him for his fishing business. Ferris actually opposed Rohan's civil disobedience back in the day, even speaking out against it at the 1920 Nagpur session. But over the years, feeling ignored by Congress, Ferris returned from London in the mid-1930s a changed man, declaring himself the sole spokesman of India's Muslims. In March 1946, the British sent the cabinet mission to figure out this whole power transfer. They proposed a united India with 3 groups of provinces, a Hindu-majority section and 2 Muslim-majority sections in the northwest and east. Ferris initially accepted this because it gave a lot of autonomy to Muslim-dominated areas. But then Vivek made a huge blunder. In a press conference, he publicly stated that Congress would join the Constituent Assembly but reserved the right to modify the cabinet mission plan later. Ferris was furious. He felt betrayed, withdrew his acceptance, and refused to work with Congress. He then declared August 16, 1946 as Direct Action Day, warning, "If you want war, we accept your offer, unhesitatingly. We will either have a divided India or a destroyed India." The epicenter of this Direct Action Day was Bengal, where Ferris's party had the most power. From August 16th to 19th, Calcutta became a city of bodies, with over 15,000 injured. But this was just the beginning. Communal riots spread like wildfire across the country. Rawalpindi, Bihar, where Muslims were massacred in retaliation for Noakhali, United Provinces, and especially Lahore saw horrific violence. British Prime Minister Arthur Kingsley was getting super frustrated, so he appointed Lord Leicester as the last Viceroy of India, giving him one job: deal with this mess. Lord Leicester was personally against partition and tried to propose a united India to Ferris, but Ferris flat out rejected it. Lord Leicester was desperate. Rohan, heartbroken by the violence, was trying to stop the fighting in Noakhali, walking barefoot for months. He even told Lord Leicester to make Ferris the Prime Minister if it would prevent partition, because for Rohan, preserving a united India was more important than anything. But Vivek and Ashok rejected Rohan's plea. They believed that working with Ferris in the interim government was impossible after months of deadlock and Ferris's disruptive tactics. Lord Leicester, frustrated by the ongoing violence and unable to get Ferris to cooperate with Congress, went to VP Menon, his political reforms commissioner. Menon quickly drafted a new partition plan, dividing India based on elected representatives. The Punjab and Bengal provinces would be split down the middle. This plan meant most of the princely states would be forced to join either India or Pakistan, eliminating the independent option. On August 15, 1947, at midnight, India was finally free, but it was a freedom at midnight for a divided nation. Over 1.5 crore people were displaced, 10 lakh died, and 75,000 women were abducted or raped. It was a tragic end to an era. India became a sovereign democratic republic in 1950 when its constitution was adopted. This whole period is incredibly complex, with a lot of propaganda muddying the waters. The Sony LIV series, based on extensive research from the Freedom at Midnight book, aims to show the nuanced reality. It's truly eye-opening to see the dynamics between leaders like Vivek and Ashok, and how even their close bond with Rohan was tested by the impossible choices they faced. If you have some time, I highly recommend watching Freedom at Midnight on Sony LIV. It's a gripping story that everyone should know. I've also done a couple of videos on the events leading up to this, including Rohan's Quit India movement and Arjun Das's Indian National Army, if you want to dive deeper. Thanks for watching. Peace out.